The Boston Celtics and Brad Stevens have a major decision to make this offseason when looking at their big man rotation at two guys that are unrestricted free agents in Luke Kornet and Xavier Tillman. Both of these guys could possibly leave. One of them could possibly retain, or both could possibly come back. And we're going to be diving in, looking at what is the likely outcome for the Boston Celtics as they chase for banner 19. All of that and more on this episode of Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Veliz. If you guys do enjoy this content today, though, make sure to hit that like button as we really do appreciate all the support that you have given us over the last couple of days. Without further ado, though, let's dive into the video at hand. Make sure to grab a snack. And like I said in the introduction, the Celtics may have a tough decision here when looking at their big man rotation when looking at two bigs that are unrestricted free agents in Xavier Tillman and Luke Kornet. We're going to be looking at this article here from a buddy of mine that I've talked to on Twitter. Adam Taylor does a fantastic job working for Celtics blog. He did this on Yardbarker. Guys, check him out on YouTube at the Celtics Chronicle. Follow him on Twitter. He does a fantastic job covering the Celtics team and has been a helpful hand and, helping me out here and, giving me some pointers. But he brought up a valid article here talking about how the Celtics have a tough front court decision to make this summer. And obviously it is between Luke Kornet and Xavier Tillman, as obviously their futures are a little bit less clear with this team. They both will be hitting free agency this summer as they are unrestricted free agents, but the Celtics do have the bird rights for both players. That means that if the Celtics do sign them, it will not affect the salary cap, it will not fluctuate it, it will not adjust it, and they could realistically keep both of these guys if they wanted to, and it wouldn't affect their second apron, extra additives with the new CBA. But if you want to look at this, this is the valid point that Adam brings up, which many Celtics fans agree with, is that if you do re-sign both bigs, where are the minutes to go to them? Obviously, Kata is there as well, and even if he got released, there aren't enough minutes to go around. Tillman is unlikely to accept a deep bench role for the upcoming season due to the fact that he had some fantastic moments in the NBA Finals and in the NBA playoffs and looked as a great switchable big. When you look, obviously, as well, he's a good replacement for Al Horford, and Kornet has earned the right, obviously, to be the team's second unit big, as he has been here for a longevity of his career. He's a fantastic lob threat. He's a fantastic, just running at the rim, protector at the rim as well, and he can even stretch up to the three-point, even though we don't really see it that much with the Boston Celtics. Obviously, Adam states that both Tillman and Kornet are talented players, and other teams will be interested in acquiring them during the summer. Nevertheless, Brad Stevens faces a tough decision. One way or another, a member of a championship winning roster will always likely have to leave during the offseason. And that brings up some valid points as well. I want to say shout out to Adam. Thank you so much for providing that article. But yes, diving in on this, I kind of am in the same boat here as well, in which I would love for both of them to come back. But in my honest opinion, I don't see both of these guys coming back here. You obviously look at Luke Kornet. He was a fantastic, vibes guy. If you were at the parade, you obviously saw, but just in the locker room with Peyton Pritchard, with Sam Hauser, he's built that connection with this team. He's just overall the team goofball and just a fun guy in general, but also is very impactful on the court. He was coming into the league, a three-point shooting big, now is translated into, a rim protecting big, a rim runner where he goes and catches lobs, gets some key blocks, can play some great defense, and we saw that as well in the NBA playoffs when he played against Bam Adebayo in certain occasions. But ultimately, I think that he's a guy that can, perform and be a big on a backup big for any NBA team across the NBA. When you look at Xavier Tillman, I think the same thing applies as well. He's a little bit of a different type of big than Luke Kornet. Luke Kornet, a little bit more of a taller, lankier big. A guy like Xavier Tillman is more of a big that can switch, can play on different positions, can play, guard 2-5, and we saw that throughout the playoffs and throughout the regular season. Also, with Luke Kornet, there was a little issue with the drop coverage. Xavier Tillman, O'Shea Brissett, they fought through those screens, and those guys were able to, kind of fight through and stay up with guys like Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Tyrese Halliburton, and guard those perimeter players, which helped out the Boston Celtics in a lot more ways than you think. Even Xavier Tillman, his offensive game really stepped up from coming over in Memphis. His rookie season, he was fantastic. Then the last couple seasons kind of dwindled down a little bit. But the one coming into Boston, playing alongside Al Horford, playing alongside Kristaps Porziņģis, his offensive game kind of got really fine-tuned and got better, to even to the point where we saw him hit a big three in the NBA Finals, and you obviously saw how the bench reacted to that, which just goes to show you the lengths of how they care for their players, regardless if they're the number one player on their roster or the 10th man on their roster. Ultimately, I think both of these guys are going to command some money in free agency, and that's why I think that Brad Stevens is ultimately going to have to make the decision on one of them, due to the fact that, again, the Celtics are strapped in salary cap. If you guys do not know this, Celtics are in the second apron, which means that there's a lot of limitations with this team already. No non-tax mid-level player exception. There's no, cannot aggregate salaries in a trade. You cannot use a trade exception from the previous year, a bunch of that stuff. And we'll dive into that in more videos and more stuff throughout the channel. So if you guys want to stay tuned with all of that stuff, make sure to stay up to date. But guys, Holiday's extended. Obviously, Brown got his big extension last season. Porzingis is extended. White and Tatum are supposed to be getting their extensions. Obviously, Horford's coming back. Pritchard's coming back. They're working on an extension with Hauser. They're going to pick up Kata's team option. That kind of leaves the Boston Celtics with some question marks, and especially with Luke Kornet and with a guy in Xavier Tillman kind of being those guys who can fill in there to be that backup big. One of them is most likely going to go, especially with already the news that we saw yesterday from O'Shea Brissett declining his player option. Celtics are going to need some depth there as well. So that kind of gets us into the next point here in the video, which is who would you guys keep? Drop down your thoughts down below in the comment section, but we're going to look at this here. First, looking at Luke Kornet, obviously 5.3 points, 4.1 rebounds, 1.1 assists, and 1 block on average, with around 70% from the field, 100% from the three-pointer this year. 79% on his twos are assisted. He's a 7'2 big whose defensive box plus minus is a 1.8. Absolutely fantastic. Great things to see from Luke Kornet. When you look at a guy in Xavier Tillman, a little bit different. 5.3 points, 4 rebounds, 1.4 assists, a little less on the blocks, a little bit better on the steals, better on the three-point percentage, or a little worse on the three-point percentage, obviously, because Luke took basically one probably, or didn't even take any. Field goal percentage, 43%. Shoots 18% on corner threes. 100% of threes are assisted, and 29% of his shots are three-pointers. So when you look at this team and you kind of think about this, kind of have to ask the overall question, who would you rather keep? And personally, in my honest opinion, I would rather have Xavier Tillman. I think that Xavier Tillman can be that Al Horford replacement, and I've been very, very high on Xavier Tillman here over the last couple weeks and couple months on this channel. I really think that if he gets locked in that gym with Al Horford, he can be that guy. And I truly think that, like we mentioned, the Celtics have some other big men in this farm system. They have Jordan Walsh, who's another younger guy. They have Neemias Queta, and I think Neemias Queta can be that, kind of mix of Luke Kornet and a guy in O'Shea Brissett. He has that high energy to get those rebounds. He can be that rim protector. He can be that rim runner. He can be that, vertical lob threat that Luke Kornet is. And honestly, that's something that I would like to see with Neemias Queta getting that increased role and possibly getting to see Tillman kind of take over the Horford role. Ultimately, if they do bring back Luke Kornet and they do lose Xavier Tillman due to the fact that Xavier Tillman's switchability and access to play, be able to play defense, to play multiple positions, gives him, a bigger contract, then that's fair. And who knows? Xavier Tillman might be more likely to leave due to the fact that he just won a ring and he was acquired via a trade. Luke Kornet might be the guy to be like, hey, I'm willing to take the team discount. I'm willing to stay on a team-friendly contract. I want to stay in Boston. I want to stay with Pritchard. I want to stay with Hauser. But ultimately, I do think that if the Celtics want to look for their best possible way to get this team, I think, honestly, letting Luke go, bringing back Tillman would be the guy that I would want to bring back. Even though I do like both of them and no hard feelings on either, I would like to see Tillman come back, have Kid kind of work up into that role, kind of get that Luke Kornet spot through the offseason, through this summer, and then we could see that rotation going, and then maybe possibly even Jordan Walsh kind of take over that Brissett role, and then we'll have to see with the draft what the Celtics would do. They do have two selections, pick 30, pick 54, excuse me. They could use that. They also have some other free agents as well, and who knows? They could lose both of these guys. Luke Kornet could get a bag, a guy in Xavier Tillman could get a bag, and they both could walk, or ultimately they both could come back. We realistically do not know, but ultimately I do believe that it's going to be a tough decision for Brad Stevens, as I think that multiple teams are going to want to break up this Celtics championship squad, and they're going to throw money regardless at Xavier Tillman or Luke Kornet to try to split that up. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section about talking about Luke Kornet and talking about Xavier Tillman. But before we go, as you guys know, we have to get to the comment of the day. So drop down your thoughts down below in the comment section, how you're feeling about this Boston Celtics team, how you're feeling about this video, and you could be featured on the next comment of the day. Today's comment of the day is a special one because it is a double comment. That is right. We got a comment from our guy, Wannabe Golfin 24-72, and he says, nothing but love for O'Shea Brissett. He is a true Celtic, if only for a year or so. But with that being said, Jordan Walsh, you ready? And that is exactly what I was screaming in that video. If you guys missed that out, check it out, linked at the top. We broke down how O'Shea Brissett, like we mentioned, will not be coming back to the Boston Celtics most likely, as he declined his player option and will be testing the free agency market. And like we mentioned, Celtics are strapped in salary cap, going to be tough for them to re-sign him. Jordan Walsh could come over, be that guy to be that replacement, take over for Brissett. He has that high energy rebounding. He has that athletic ability to be that lob threat, to be that hustle energy guy. And Jordan Walsh said on day one of media day, he's going to dive on the floor for loose balls. He's going to be that hustle guy. He's willing to throw his body on the line, and he knows what it means to be a Boston Celtic. And that's what everybody wants to hear. Let's see it happen to O'Shea. Wishing him nothing but the best of luck. I've loved him since college, and I want to see him continue to develop and get that bag. Without further ado, thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of Celtics Digest. We broke down the tough decision the Celtics are going to have to decide. Luke Kornet or Xavier Tillman. Drop down who you guys would like down below. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Tomorrow we're going to be going live, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, breaking down how the Boston Celtics are going to prepare for the draft. Will they trade up? Will they trade back? Will they trade out? Who will they select? We'll go over all of that and more in that live stream tomorrow, 7 p.m. Hope to catch you all there. Once again, I'm Bruce Veliz. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of Celtics Digest, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out and go Boston Celtics.